Out here in the boat once again. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking drop shot hooks. I'm a huge fan of the drop shot, have been for years and years. And I'm going to show you my favorite drop shot hook, the one that I think is the best drop shot hook on the market. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for all the new subscribers. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. I noticed that. I appreciate it. And please comment below what you think about this video, if you think I'm right on. But we're going to talk drop shot fishing and the drop shot hook. So I'll give you a quick story. So I grew up in Nevada. I was drop shotting in 1999. So obviously I wasn't the first, but I've been doing this for years. More years of my life I've been drop shotting than I haven't. I've been doing this for years and years. I drew John Murray in a tournament in 2001, who taught me a lot about drop shot fishing. He was so far ahead of his time, 2D sonar, dropping on fish, 23 years ago. So I have a long and storied history with drop shot fishing. It's something I always use, always have tied up, and I've went through a lot of different hooks over the years. Originally, and typically what we're talking about here is straight tail worms, the robo worms, things like that. You cannot beat a robo worm. Been fishing them for years and years. Cash checks throughout the country on a robo worm, and it's still something that everybody uses, still very popular. But we're going to talk about the hook. So getting back to my story, when I first started, what John Murray was using was a G-lock style hook. And that is a way to Texas rig your drop shot, which lets you cast it in brush. You can cast it around grass, and you just don't hang up as much as the nose hooking. So that is typically my preferred way to drop shot fish, is to Texas rig a robo worm. There's times when I do nose hook it, predominantly smallmouth fishing with smaller baits. In that case, the best hook is going to be the Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook. But we're talking Texas rigging, and that is a huge way to catch fish. It's great for casting into brush piles. Again, you just do not hang up near as much at all compared to a nose hook drop shot. And it's a bigger hook, so I think you get a better hooking percentage. You land more fish just because you have that bigger hook, and it, again, keeps it weedless. So I've tried all the different bait hooks out there. I've tried them all. I started with the rebarb, which is excellent. And this is really the first one I ever used, which is a straight shank style with a keeper. And now everybody makes one of those. We got the Trocar version, we have the Owner version, and the Gamakatsu version. Now they're all good. They all get the job done. There's even the VMC version and Mustad version. I mean, everybody makes one like that. And I have tried them all. So there are things that I like about some of them, and there's things that I don't like about others. Primarily, I'm not going to bash anyone, but some of the hook points roll over. Some of the keepers just don't seem to hold the bait in place very well, which is a huge pain when you got to re-rig your bait all the time. Just reeling it in, it slides down or tears up your bait because it's too big. That keeper is critical. So my favorite drop shot hook, and it's all I use right now for, again, Texas rigging on a drop shot with a robo worm. This guy right here. This is the Gamakatsu with the tin keeper. So that tin keeper is perfect for holding a robo worm. It's really small, slides over the bait, and without making a huge rip in the bait, so it secures the bait perfectly. This is a size 1. I also like the 1/0. They're both good. Kind of just depends on the size of fish, the bait, everything they're using. But this hook, I cannot say enough good things about this hook. So in addition to hooking him really well, it's because of that straight shank design. So it hooks him really well, and it has this kind of strange nano coating, which a lot of hooks are kind of going to now. The Berkley Fusion 19 does that. A lot of the Owner hooks have that technology as well, but that just makes it a smoother surface to penetrate better when you're setting the hook. So it hooks them extremely well. These things are very sharp. But the other thing I noticed with this style of hook is it always gets them, for the most part, I'd say 9 times out of 10, right in the roof of the mouth. Just like this fish I caught recently. It is stuck. They're not going anywhere. They are hooked. You could fight them. You don't have to worry about any issues. As long as your line doesn't break, you're going to catch that fish. They hook them and hook them well. So if you haven't tried this, I highly recommend the Gamakatsu G-Finesse with Tin Keeper. I think that's what it's called. But that Tin Keeper is a huge difference maker for keeping your bait secure, because it has that little keeper on it, but not tearing up your bait so that the bait slides down. It holds them perfectly in place. Again, size 1/0, you can't go wrong. I cannot say enough about this hook. So which hook are you using for your drop shot fishing? Are you fishing a lot of different hooks, kind of like I am, depending on the bait? But this one is ideal for that Texas rigging style. It's also really good for the times when you're threading a bait on there, which has become really popular. You know, you're talking about your flatworms or your Z-Man scented jerk shads, where you're actually threading that hook onto the shank of the hook with the bait with the hook exposed. You know, that's a great way to hook more fish with those style of baits compared to just a nose hook, where you're going to lose some, just basically in general, you're going to lose some surface area, so you're not going to hook as many. But in those situations, this is still a great hook, this Gamakatsu hook with Tin Keeper. But I'm going to introduce one more that's really good, and this is the VMC. And this is a Nico style hook with it's like a fluorocarbon or mono keeper on there. This thing holds plastic very well. I don't think it's as good for drop shot fishing when you're Texas rigging, but when you're threading a bait, it holds it very, very well, on par with the Gamakatsu hook that I just talked about. So those are two of my favorites. Again, there's so many good hooks out there now. It's great that fishing has become so specialized, where there's more options for us, where we can pick hooks and baits and lines and everything else that do different things. But for drop shot fishing, if I had to pick one, it's that Gamakatsu G Finesse with Tin Keeper. I'd say followed by this VMC Nico hook that is great for that finesse fishing when you're threading a drop shot onto your hook. Those two are great. Then if you're nose hooking in those few situations where I still do that with small baits, can't beat a split shot drop shot style hook like the Gamakatsu version. They also have one with that nano coating stuff on it as well. It's the Aaron Martens edition, size 1, excellent. I know some guys though that go even smaller. You know, they use a 2 or a 4 because they feel like it hooks fish and keeps them pinned. Even with that small hook, they just feel like there's less issues. Again, that's kind of personal preference. For me, size 1 for that style of hook. So what's your preferred drop shot hook? Let me know. I'm always looking to experiment, try different things. It's great to see what's out there, and maybe there's something that will work for a certain situation. I don't think you can be tied to one particular brand. I think it'd be really hard to be sponsored by a hook company because there's so many different hooks that are great for certain situations and maybe not so great for other situations. So again, thanks for watching. Let me know, what hooks am I missing?